Hey guys, it's Fatih. Today I wanted to talk about appealing animation that you can achieve by just simplifying your shots. So sometimes we want to overdo what we're doing in our shots. So we want to over animate something, whereas maybe that's not necessarily what the scene needs for us to do to have an appealing shot. So think of it this way. We're working in a shot that's in a sequence that's a part of the film. So we're working in a very small part of the actual film. And sometimes doing what's needed for the shot is the most important thing as opposed to overdoing it because you might make your shot stand out by doing a very appealing animation with over exaggerating the poses in the animation, but that might stick out in the wrong way. So that's fine sometimes, but in this specific demo or lecture, you want to call it, I want to just have a conversation about creating appealing shots by keeping the shot as simple as possible and not overdoing it. And also, there's another level of appeal in having a shot really simple or simplifying it. Simple doesn't necessarily mean it's not appealing. It just means breaking down your shot to the main key points. Think of it like reading a comic book. When you read a comic book, you're looking at the key points. So simplifying the shot is in a way the same thing where you simplify the shot to the key moments for the audience to be able to actually register, understand, and see those performances. So I picked Peanuts today in terms of like reviewing and showing an example of how to achieve appealing poses, animation, all that stuff by just simple things, really. So this is between Charlie Brown and Snoopy. So this shot over here is where Charlie Brown, that's him over here, is having a conversation with Snoopy, and he's just having a heartfelt moment. And what this scene requires is we just need to have Snoopy fully focused on Charlie Brown throughout the shot, just listening to him, fully focused, not moving a lot, because obviously it's quite a reflective scene. He's pouring his heart out, saying, you know, something along the lines of, "You're a very dear friend to me. You listen to me, etc., etc." So you guys kind of get the idea. It's a very emotional scene, and what we need is very slow, not fast movement, subtle, very contained acting. Even though it's a cartoony animation, this is not what's required for that scene. So the appeal factor comes from keeping it quite realistic and contained. So we can see Snoopy. He's almost fully still. There's small subtle movements like there, but it's mainly he's fully focused on Charlie Brown. And he goes in, Charlie Brown's in bed. And now he's not even looking at Snoopy. He's looking just like kind of over our right shoulder. He's internalizing, like, if you speak to somebody, you'll say, I went there, I did this, and oh my God, it was great. And you're starting to reminisce and remember in your mind when you start to look away from the person you're speaking to. So, and you're just looking into blank space. You're just internalizing. And at that point, for all we know, Snoopy is still like looking at Charlie Brown. That's kind of what we remember from this scene. But this slow holding and contained movement is a build up for what's about to happen right now. Charlie Brown turns to Snoopy to say, like, you're a dear friend of mine, you've been listening to me. And then what do we have? Super cartoony, just snoring, like he wasn't listening in the first place, which is a complete opposite to what we had previously. And it's keeping it really simple. Like, I'm listening to you, which is one, listening. I'm not going to spell it, just scribble. So one, he's listening to Charlie Brown, Snoopy is. Very simple, not much is happening. We cut to the next shot. He's not doing much. He's just snoring, complete opposite. And we didn't need to see him go into bed, turn around, get sleepy. It's just the appeal comes in the whole cut frame. Oh, he wasn't even listening to begin with. So that's what makes it appealing. And now we've cut onto this pose where we now register that he wasn't listening to begin with. We can now go and put really cartoony pushed poses and he's snoring and just like to exaggerate that. He doesn't have to like he doesn't have to do all these crazy kind of like hands in the air kind of stuff. It's just holding a pose, yawning or snoring is enough. And yeah, that's what's really required. That's what makes this specific shot really appealing. Firstly, we start off with something very subtle, heartfelt, and then the punchline is Charlie Brown turns around. What do you know? Snoopy is snoring. He wasn't even listening. Jeez. Yeah, you can see he rolls his eyes like this dog, which is great. It's what the scene requires, and it's a nice way of having something very appealing in terms of performance. We kept it contained, and then afterwards we have something cartoony. And at the same time, when we do have something cartoony, we can really push those poses. So I want to show you another scene. Very simple, easy to follow. So kids are going into school. It's very clear to see. Okay, Charlie Brown is going. He stops. So we know already dogs are not allowed in this, in school. So Snoopy enters the scene, super happy, and look at the change in emotions. Super happy, positive, body is upright. He stops. What the? He registers what's going on. He gets angry. So there's 3 stages, but he hasn't actually even moved. It's happy, question mark, angry. So he's really happy he's going to school. He stops for a second to register what's going on. I'm not sure what's going on. That's this pose here, like emotionless, like eyebrows up. And then we go into the hold on a minute. I don't want to go in there. But we've achieved all that over here without moving the character much. Now we can push onto that. Now we've built the emotion of the character being upset, unhappy. And all he's doing here is just have moments of different anger. So one is the still, just bringing the eyebrows down. Second one is this one, a snappier moment. He's in the same position, but we'll just have a snappier motion. And then the third one is he just opens his mouth, really cartoony, shouts. And even there, so we're not overcomplicating the performance. He's just getting angry and, like how a little toddler or a young kid would do, just, like really tense, sharp movements. And among those, we've got the first, second, and this is the final one. And in between that, the animator's chosen to do something cool where he has the legs. I think he has the legs. Smearing, Snope stomping, jumps up, stomp the leg down. Typical kind of rebellious. And then finally, we have the arms closed, which basically shows very defensive, leaning back away from where they were going. And then we have an idea. So all this has happened around here. We've had a change of emotions and performances all in one little location. We did not need to run around the screen, do all this extra motion. What this scene requires is Snoopy is going to school. He gets stopped. And with him being stopped of going in a direction he wanted to, he has a change from questioning what's happening, happy, angry, and finally, he has an idea. Yeah. And obviously he wants to go to school, all that stuff. And I'll just show this final bit over here as well, when he's trying to go into school. So he tries to go inside. He's not allowed. Door slams. It's basically a bouncing ball. So again, keeping the idea simple, Snoopy wants to go inside. Kid closes the door. He's left outside. They could have just slammed the door and have him just stand there, but why not push it a little bit? It doesn't move away from like the simplicity of the scene. It just adds more into it. So when the door slams, from the impact of the door, he jumps up. We have some smears over here, which basically helps tell us that he's scrambling while he's in midair. And then boing, he drops on his head, then he drops on his butt, and then he stops. Finally, we have him crying, you know. So it's a nice way to end the shot rather than just having him stand there, door closes. It helps sell his kind of frustration of not being able to go inside. So it's a nice way to finish the shot as well. So yeah, that's kind of a little lecture on how to keep your shots appealing without doing too much, keeping your character contained in one place and living in those appealing poses. For example, this pose over here is very nice, very appealing. It's almost been, well, not almost, I would say it's been sculpted to look very 2D. So you want to go from like pose A, that's over here when he's standing, boing boing, to this pose. And you want to stay in that because you've spent time creating this nice appealing pose. You don't want to push off that. You want to like live in that pose, keep your character alive in that pose. And in this case, or should I say, alive enough or stay long enough in that pose that the audience register that pose. Because if you're constantly moving from one pose to another, it might be difficult to register what's happening and like really understand what the character's feeling. You might know where it is, but this audience might find it a bit difficult based on how quickly it's happening. So yeah. So if you've got loads of poses in there, maybe you might just need to reduce the amount of poses you have to really amp up your shots, really. Yeah, that was it from me, you guys, and hopefully you've enjoyed that mini lecture that I had. Any questions, just let me know in the comments or just note down if it's been useful to you, and yeah, I'll be happy to do some more of this. Thank you.